Would you like to learn how to turn tragedy into a multi-million-dollar real estate empire? Well, we're going to find out today thanks to my guest, Kathy Fettke, coming to us all the way from Malibu, California. Thank you so much, Kathy, for being on the show today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you.
Well, as I said, you are a multi-million-dollar real estate empire owner. And I'm sure that everybody's thinking, wow, where did she start? How did she get to this point? So I'd love to hear how you became this really amazing trailblazer when it comes to real estate investment.
Well, for me, it was really by accident. My father had owned an apartment building, and it didn't go very well for him. The area ended up being kind of high crime and low income, and the value dropped dramatically. What happened in that case was the main partner, sold the property without really telling my father until he got a letter in the mail. That's why I'm not a big fan of general partnerships, because I like to be in control of investments. I saw how he was not in control. And so the way it works in real estate is if you buy a property in the U.S. and you sell it, you can avoid paying capital gains by buying another property. But you have to do that in 45 days. So by the time my dad got the letter, he only had a few weeks. And that was so rude of the seller. But he only had a few weeks, or else he would have to pay all the back taxes of this property, and he'd owned it for maybe 15 years. It would have been a few $100,000 he would have had to pay the IRS. So I didn't know any of this, but I said, hey, Dad, let me find you a property, and we'll live in it. We'll be your renters. My husband and I had just been married. And I said, and then we'll treat it as our own, and we'll inherit it someday, so you won't have to pay any expenses. We'll cover everything. Just get this headache off your plate. And we did that. We ended up inheriting the property, and again, just by accident, this all happened in 1997 when it was another recession in the U.S. Not that long ago. You'd think we'd kind of learn a few things here, but there was another one in 97.
And there was another one in between with the internet bust.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So we bought at the bottom of that last recession. And by 2007, when we'd owned the property 10 years, it had tripled in value. So because then, what happened, we just kind of bought a house by accident. We were helping our dad out, and we got to be owners. We were able to refinance, pay him any money he had ever put into the apartment. So he walked away completely whole, and we ended up the owners of this property. And then in 2002, when my husband... he's an author. He wrote a book called Extreme Success, and he was on the road and doing great. And he noticed a freckle when he was away, came back, checked it out, and it turned out it was melanoma. And when he came back, the doctor did all the tests and everything, and it appeared that this had moved to his liver. And the doctor just looked at him and said, you may have about 6 months to live.
It was cancer.
So I didn't believe it, but he did, and he was afraid.
Of course.
I was naive and refused to believe that a freckle would take my husband, who jumps off cliffs and skydives and does crazy things, wrote a book about it. So he needed to take those 6 months to heal himself, and I needed to figure out how to make money. That was the bottom line. How could I take over? I had been a successful businesswoman before children, but once you have children, it's kind of hard you get out of the business world and kind of forget how to get back in. So I was doing a little bit of coaching at the time, working from home, making, maybe a few $1,000s a month to help out with vacations and stuff like that. But it wasn't enough to cover the $10,000 of overhead that we had.
Ooh.
So I had to figure something out really quickly.